I was 2 weeks away from my wedding when I got a message from an unknown number. If you marry him, I will expose you. What they sent next wasn't just my secret, it was her secret too. Hi, please hide my identity. I'm sharing this because I can't talk to my friends about it, and I can't talk to my family about it, and I feel like I'm carrying a whole second life inside my chest. I am 28 years old. I grew up in a very strict home where being gay wasn't just not accepted, it was treated like a disgrace, like something that could destroy a family name. So I learned early how to survive. Smile, obey, don't ask questions, don't bring shame, and honestly, I thought I had figured out how to do life the right way until the day I fell in love with Amara. I met her at a friend's small house party. She wasn't loud, she wasn't trying to be seen, she had this calm confidence, like she already understood something about life that everybody else was still struggling to learn. We talked for maybe 10 minutes, not dramatic, just a normal conversation. But when I got home that night, I couldn't fine because she made me feel honest. A week later, we ran into each other again by coincidence. Then again, then suddenly, we were the kind of friends who always somehow end up together. At first, I lied to myself, she's just cool. I just like her vibe, this is normal. But it wasn't normal because I started craving her presence the way you crave peace after a bad day. I'd catch myself smiling at my phone. I'd read our chats like a love letter. Then one night, we were sitting in her car outside my gate. It was late. She was talking and laughing, and I remember thinking, if I had one wish, it would be to stay here forever. She stopped talking and looked at me for a long moment, like she had been reading me for weeks. Then she said softly, "You know what this is, right?" My throat closed up because I didn't know. I just didn't have the courage to say it. Here's where it gets complicated. I was already in a relationship with a man. His name is Daniel. Wasn't abusive. He wasn't wicked. He was stable, safe, predictable. He was the kind of man my family prayed for. When we started dating, I told what adulthood is. You choose what makes sense. And when he proposed, my family reacted like somebody won a trophy. My mom cried. My dad called relatives. Everyone started planning. They posted pictures, they prayed, they celebrated, and I smiled in every photo. Why feeling like I was drowning inside my own life? Because while the wedding planning was happening, I was also falling deeper into Amara. Amara and I never labeled it quickly. It was this quiet thing that grew teeth slowly. Long conversations, inside jokes, her hands brushing mine by mistake. The way she'd watch my face when I spoke. Then one day it happened. We were in her kitchen. I was talking about something silly and she reached for a cup behind me and her body pressed against my back for just a second. My whole body reacted like it had been waiting for her. I turned around too fast and she froze. And in that moment, I kissed her. Not a dramatic movie kiss, not a planned kiss, a desperate, scared, truthful kiss. Afterwards, I started shaking because the joy was immediate and the fear was immediate too. I kept whispering, I'm engaged, I'm engaged. And she said something that still haunts me. Then what are we doing? I didn't leave Daniel. I didn't even know how to. My family would destroy me. Daniel would be humiliated. My life would change overnight. I would lose people. I would lose safety. So I tried to do what a lot of people do when they are terrified. I tried to have everything. I told Amara, just give me time. And she did at first. But here's the thing about secrets. They start to rot you from the inside. I became anxious. I started deleting messages like a criminal. I started lying on autopilot. I started living with my heart racing. Amara was patient, but she wasn't foolish. She would get quiet sometimes, then ask, do you actually plan to choose me? Or am I just your escape from the life you're about to commit to? I never had a clean answer because the truth was I loved her, but I was terrified of what loving her would cost me. 2 weeks before my wedding, I got a text from an unknown number. I know about you and Amara. If you marry Daniel, I'll expose you. I stared at my phone until my eyes hurt. I thought it was a bluff until another message came in. A screenshot, a picture of me and Amara outside her car, taken from far away, blurry but clear enough. A time stand, my stomach dropped. I called Amara immediately. She picked up and I could hear the fear in her voice. She whispered, it's happening, isn't it? I said, what do you mean it's happening? Then she said, my ex knows. My chest tightened. Your ex? Amara had told me she dated a woman before, but she never gave details. That night, she finally did. She said her ex wasn't just an ex, her ex was obsessed, controlling, the kind of person who didn't accept no as an answer. And now, she believed that ex had found out about us. I asked, does she have my number? Amara said no, but she has connections. Connections? That word didn't feel like a relationship problem anymore, it felt like danger. The next day, the same number texted again. Tell Amara to come back or I will send everything to your fiancé. Then they sent a voice note. It was a woman's voice, calm and almost smiling. You think you can steal my person and still go and wear white? Interesting. My hands went cold. Daniel was in the next room, practicing his wedding speech with his friends and speaker on speakerphone, laughing. And I was sitting on the bed, shaking, realizing I had put my life in a situation where somebody could blow up my life with one click. Amara begged me not to go through with the wedding, but the family had already paid deposits. People had booked flights. My dad had started bragging about my marriage like it was his personal achievement. I told myself I could just get through the wedding. If I could just get through the wedding, I'll figure out after. Even as I said it, it sounded like nonsense. Wedding morning came. I was in my bridal robe, makeup half done, surrounded by my mother, aunties, and friends. Everybody was excited. My mom kept saying, "Look at my daughter. God has done it." And I kept smiling like my face wasn't cracking. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number again. Two messages. The first one, "Today is the day." And then the second one, a video. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely press play. The video showed Amara in her apartment, sitting on the floor with her knees to her chest. Her eyes were swollen like she had been crying for hours. She looked straight into the camera and said, if you see this, it means she didn't choose me." I felt my heart split. Because I didn't know she had recorded that, then the camera angle changed. It looked like it was being held by someone else now. Someone standing over her. A voice, the same calm voice from the voice note said, tell her you're done." Amara whispered, shaking, "I'm done." Then the video cut off. I dropped the phone like it burned my skin. My friend asked, "Are you okay?" And for the first time in my life, I wanted to scream the truth so loudly it would shake the room. At the venue, the music started. The doors opened. Everyone stood. Daniel was waiting at the front, smiling like the happiest man alive. I started walking step by step. I kept thinking, if I kept walking, I might never see Amara again. If I stopped walking, my whole world would collapse. Halfway down the aisle, my phone buzzed again. 1 minute. I looked up and saw my father filming proudly. My mother was crying. My knees felt weak. And then when I saw it, at the back of the hall, near the exit, a woman stood in a simple dress, not dressed like a guest, not smiling, just watching me like a show. She raised her phone slightly, and I knew without any doubt. This was the person behind the messages. She mouthed two words, "Say yes." My blood ran cold. I got to the front. The officiant began. Daniel held my hands. His palms were warm. He looked at me with love and trust. Then the officiant asked, "Do you take Daniel?" And my mouth opened, but no sound came out. Because in that moment, I wasn't choosing between a man and a woman anymore. I was choosing between safety and truth, between the life people planned for me and the life I actually wanted. And before I could speak, my phone buzzed one last time. A text. "Check your fiance's inbox." I froze because suddenly I realized maybe this wasn't only about me. Maybe Daniel was about to find out in front of everybody. And the worst part, I didn't know if the message was a threat or if it had already happened. I didn't check Daniel's inbox immediately, not because I didn't want to know, but because I already knew what it meant. That whoever was doing this didn't just want to ruin my wedding, they wanted to control the ending. The officiant repeated the question, louder this time, smiling because everybody was watching and waiting for my yes. I looked at Daniel's face, so open, so trusting, and my stomach turned. This man did not deserve to become collateral damage in a war he didn't even know existed. So I did the only thing my body could do before my fear could argue with it. I squeezed his hand, leaned closer, and whispered, "I need you to trust me for 5 minutes, please." He blinked, confused. Then he nodded, because he still believed I was safe. I turned to the officiant and said clearly, "I am sorry, I can't do this right now. I need a moment." The room reacted immediately. Gasp, murmurs, someone laughed nervously like it was a joke. My mother's face tightened. My father stood up like he wanted to interrupt. I could feel the weight of shame trying to climb my throat. But I kept walking, not running, walking, because I didn't want anyone to say I panicked. Um, I wanted them to see this was a decision. Daniel followed me, still holding onto my hand like he could calm the storm by touching me. We stepped into a small side room behind the hall. The noise outside became muffled, like we were underwater. The moment the door closed, Daniel's voice broke. "What's going on? Are you okay? Did something happen?" I stared at him for a second. Then I said, "Something is happening, and I'm sorry because you don't deserve it." My hands were shaking as I brought out my phone. I showed him the messages, the screenshots, the voice note. His expressions shifted from confusion to shock, then to something quieter, something like realization. He took a slow breath and said carefully, "Is this about someone you're seeing?" My throat closed up. I didn't answer immediately because that one yes would split my whole life. Daniel sat down like his legs stopped working. He rubbed his face once, hard. Then he looked at me and asked, with a pain that made me feel sick, do you love her? I couldn't lie, not now, not with his life in my hands too. So, yes, I whispered, I do. There was a long silence. Then he said, almost to himself, I knew something was missing, but I didn't think it was this. I went cold. You knew? He swallowed. I didn't know the details, but I knew you were somewhere else. Sometimes you look at me like you were trying to convince yourself. I started crying immediately. Not pretty crying, ugly, helpless crying, because this guilt finally had a place to go. Daniel stood up again, slower this time. He looked at me like he was watching the future he planned dissolve in real time. Then he said, we can't go back out there like nothing happened. I nodded. He reached for my phone. Let me see the last messages again. I handed it over. Check your fiance's inbox. Daniel's jaw tightened. He pulled out his own phone and opened his email. I watched his face as he read. At first, nothing. Then his eyes hardened, like something in him snapped into place. He turned the screen towards me. The email had been sent to him from a new address with no name attached. Subject line, she's not who you think. Inside were photos, cropped, zoomed, stolen moments, me and Amara in a car, me and Amara outside my gate, a screenshot of a chat, cut to remove context, and one final line. Call off the wedding or the next message goes to your parents, your pastor, and your entire guest list. My stomach flipped. Then I stared at the screen for a long moment, then looked up and said, this isn't about me. This is about controlling you. I whispered, I think it's her ex. Daniel frowned. Her ex? I nodded and told him everything I knew, quickly, brokenly. When I finished, he exhaled and said something I didn't expect. Okay, listen to me. You're not going to handle this alone. I blinked. Daniel, he raised a hand. Don't. I'm angry, I'm hot, but I'm not going to let anybody blackmail you. And I'm not going to let them turn my wedding into a hostage situation. My heart was pounding so hard it felt loud. He looked me dead in the face. We go back out there. We end this respectfully. No details, no confessions on the microphone, no drama for people to chew. Just the wedding is postponed. Then we leave. I swallowed. My family will destroy me. He said quietly, they might, but you'll still be alive. And you'll still be free. That word free hit me like a slap. We walked back out together. The hall fell silent. The moment people saw our faces, my mother looked like she was about to faint. My father looked like he wanted to fight somebody. My friend's eyes were wide with panic. Daniel took the microphone before anyone could speak. His voice was steady, but I could hear the pain under it. Thank you all for coming. We respect you and we appreciate you, but we won't be continuing with the ceremony today. Please give us privacy. A wave of shock rippled through the room. Somebody shouted, what happened? Somebody else muttered, eh? My mother started crying loudly, like crying, real cry, the kind that draws attention, but Daniel didn't let the room swallow us. He held my hand and walked me out through a side door. Outside, the air felt sharp and cold, like a reset. Then he looked at me and said, you need to call Amara now. I called her with trembling fingers. She answered on the first ring, whispering, did you do it? I said, I stopped it. Are you okay? There was silence, then a shaky breath. I'm okay, I'm alone. She came here earlier but left. She said she ruined you. My stomach dropped. Amara, you need to leave your place right now. Go somewhere safe. She whispered, I didn't want to drag you into my past. I said, I'm already in it. Daniel took my phone gently and said, calmly, like someone making a plan in a fire. Amara, listen, save every message, every number, every email. Don't delete anything. We're going to document this properly. There was a pause. Then Amara said, who is this? Daniel's voice tightened. The man whose wedding just got held. The man whose wedding just got held hostage. We are going to end this. That night, I didn't go home. Not because I was hiding, but because I needed one night where my life wasn't being managed by fear. Daniel dropped me at a quiet place and left without drama. Before he got into his car, he said, I am not your enemy, but I can't be your husband. I nodded, tears falling. I know. He hesitated. Promise me something. What? Don't go back to pretending after today. Even if your family pressures you, even if you lose people, don't marry a lie. He drove off. I sat down alone, and for the first time, I allowed myself to feel the full weight of what I'd done. I had stopped a wedding. I had broken hearts. I had saved myself all at once. 3 days later, my father came to see me. He didn't sit. He didn't ask if I was okay. He said, explain. I looked at him and I realized I had two options. One, the truth. So I told him another performance or the truth. So I told him the safest version of the truth I could. I couldn't marry Daniel. I wasn't happy. And someone is threatening me. The word threatening got his attention because strict parents must understand Strict parents may not understand feelings, but they understand danger. He asked, "Who?" "I don't know for sure," I said, "but it's connected to someone I was close to." He stared at me long and hard, like he was trying to decide if I was still his daughter. Then he said something that surprised me. "Bring proof. We will handle the threats first." I didn't know if it was love or control, but it was a door. Amara and I met in person after that. Carefully, quietly. She looked smaller than I remembered, like fear had been eating her sleep. I held her hands and said, "I stopped the wedding." Her eyes filled immediately. "You did. The life people planned for me," she whispered. "I'm sorry." And I said, "No, I'm sorry I tried to make you a secret." Promises. We didn't speak like a movie. We just agreed on one thing. No more confusion. If we are going to do this, it had to be with honesty, boundaries, and safety. And about the ex, the messages stopped the day after I showed Daniel the email. Not because she suddenly became a good person, but because she realized something. I wasn't isolated anymore. Weeks later, Daniel sent me a final text. "I told everyone we postponed because of private reasons. I won't let them drag you publicly, but please don't contact me again unless it's about the blackmail case." I stared at the message for a long time, then I replied, "Thank you. I'm sorry. I hope you find someone who loves you loudly." He didn't respond. I didn't blame him because sometimes the most painful endings are the ones where nobody is the villain. But everyone bleeds. And as for me, I didn't get my fairy tale, but I got my life back. If you're watching this and you're living two lives to keep other people comfortable, please hear me. A wedding is one day, but pretending can become a lifetime. You guys, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comment section, guys. I'll see you in my next video.